We are sitting here on September 4th with 24 games to go, so this is about right? We've caught up to where we're supposed to be. If this was a real baseball season, we'd have about 24 games left to go on September 4th, and the Jays are into a playoff spot, currently tied with the Yankees. Here's Steve Phillips, our TSN 1050 Jays analyst. Does that sound about right to you, Steve? 24 games to go, tied with the Yankees.
It does. And oh, by the way, they play the Yankees 10 of the remaining 24 games. And so you talk about having your fate in your own hand. I mean, this is going to come down really, I think, to how they play against each other. And the Yankees are reeling, a lot of injuries. They're not playing very good baseball right now. Now, they're due to get hot. They're also due to get healthier. But it's going to be a while before Judge comes back. Stanton's progressing. Gleyber Torres is coming back. So, I mean, they're getting closer. But, the Blue Jays have a real shot here. And think about it this way. If the Jays finish ahead of the Yankees very likely will be the 8th seed, which would mean they'd open most likely with the Tampa Bay Rays, which would be just so interesting that the Yankees going down to Tampa Bay with all of the negative energy they've got going back and forth there with those two teams to start off the playoffs. So, we got a long ways to go before we get there. But listen, if you had told the Jays before the 60-game season started with 24 games left, you guys would be tied for second in the division with the Yankees, with a chance not only to be second in the division, but also, a real shot at the very least, to be a wild card team, I think they'd sign up for it in a heartbeat.
Yep, absolutely. And you wrote about that up on tsn.ca, that Shapiro and Atkins are earning the trust of Blue Jay fans. And it's easy to do that when you're 4 games above 500, winning, thoroughly entertaining games as well. They seem to go to extra innings every second night, and they're finding a way to win that. And that may come back to earth at some point as well. You would suggest it probably will. But it took a while for this tandem, Shapiro and Atkins, to get to a position where maybe they're even just back to even. Maybe they're just sitting and they're back at par, and it's like, okay, let's see what we do over the next 2 or 3 years. But they took over almost an unwinnable situation with Beeston and Anthopoulos going out. And those two were beloved here because of what happened in 15 and 16. Beeston's been a day oneer since 1977. Shapiro and Atkins are these two Americans from Cleveland that come up here and blow it up. And I don't think they played the PR game well at all. Like, they did not play the PR game well. But they've built a top 5 farm system. They've made some very shrewd trades. This offseason, they picked up a couple of big-name signings, and their club is starting to win. They deserve credit for that.
Yeah, their plan is working. Now, will it turn into a championship is the next question. Now, and that takes some good fortune once you get to the playoffs. You got to get there and try to get there on a consistent basis. They want to build sustainability to where they're winning, but they're not going to just go all in and then, not have prospects and have to tear it all down again. The goal is to just keep sustaining and feeding yourself with young players and prospects coming up. Now, the more you win, the less shot you get at some of the impact players. And you've got to be even smarter and make sure you're picking the right guys who other teams pass over or don't quite see something in. But their plan is working. Look, the expanded playoffs are going to help them in the process, that it's going to look like it's a little bit better than it is because, normally in a playoff year, they wouldn't be a playoff team right now, right? If it's only a 5-team playoff format, that it's not every second-place team getting in, then it's the 3 division winners, then the next 2 teams, and that wouldn't be them right now, most likely. It would be 2 teams out of the American League Central. If it's not the Indians, then it's the Twins and the White Sox. And so, but that being said, they're pushing for one of those spots. I think that it would be a real disappointment if at the very least they don't end up the 8th seed in the playoffs. I mean, if somehow they falter and the Tigers or the Orioles pass them, then that'll be very disappointing. And I don't see that happening. I think there's enough talent there. And these guys have all said right from the start, we're a playoff team. We're fighting for the playoffs. And that's coming true right now.
With Steve Phillips, our Jays analyst. So we've been talking a lot about Teoscar Hernandez this afternoon. He had another big hit last night. He's become a clutch hitter. His numbers across the board. We did a compare and contrast with him and Mike Trout, and this, again, speaks to how crazy 2020 is. But he is better than Trout across the board. Across the board. OPS, slugging, home runs he's tied. He's hit for more average. His wins above replacement are a couple of points ahead of Mike Trout. he's putting up just astronomical numbers. He's top 5 in baseball or in the American League in pretty much every significant hitting category. Now, his defense obviously leaves a lot more to be desired, and his defensive play has kind of dragged him through the mud in terms of his overall reputation, and he's not a household name even in Toronto, let alone throughout baseball. But if he continues at this pace for another 24 games, why isn't he going to be in the top 10 in AL MVP voting?
Yeah, I think he's got a chance to be there. I do. I think he's got a real chance to be there. I mean, he's putting up really good numbers so far. He hits his on-base percentage. He doesn't walk a lot, but he's walked a little bit more this year, 11 walks, 40 strikeouts so far. You think about it, he's almost striking out 1 out of every 3 times, but when he does make contact, he's doing some big-time damage. And so, listen, the Indians have loved him, where he's had some holes in his game and, high strikeouts, doesn't walk a lot, doesn't have a great on-base percentage. He's a .310 career on-base percentage, which isn't great. You look at it and think, all right, well, it's if he hits 310 and he hits a .360 on base percentage, that works, and that's where he is right now. So he's coming up with big hits. He broke up the no hitter, then he hits the big home run, and he has fun, man. He's got a good arm for the outfield. He just sometimes he tackles the ball when it comes out there, and that's you just got to watch that a little bit. The other thing with the Jays is they've got this thing going on right now that they just run until somebody tags them out. Can we run the bases a little bit right now and make
fundamentals have not been strong this year?
Well, what it is, and I wrote about that too, that there are errors of commission, that they're overzealous. I mean, Vlad Jr. just tried to make a play, but it wasn't good judgment. Jonathan Villar joining a new team has tried to do a little too much, stretching a single into a double, and getting a little too far down the third baseline and getting picked off. They're just trying too hard, and what they have to do is they have to know their game and they have to trust their teammates, and that's just youth. They'll figure it out. What the thing is, and players don't learn from other players' mistakes, and so because one guy's making base running mistakes, I don't learn from that until I make the mistake and learn from it. And I think that there's that process going on right now. The good thing is they're still winning some ball games because the talent is there. And what you hope is that they don't make the same mistake over and over. Each person individually, as a team, they're going to, because they're all going to make that mistake once. So, and they'll figure it out. You look at Mookie Betts, he made mistakes when he first came up. He doesn't make a single mistake now. But he knows his game and doesn't ever try to do too much. And I think they'll get there too.
The Jays, again, currently playing this doubleheader format, these 7 innings of doubleheader ball. They're currently up 8-4 in the bottom of the 6th on Boston. So they're looking to continue on the path that they're currently on. How do you feel about that in the future, Steve? The idea of them, Major League Baseball committing to whenever they have to make up games in the future, and if they have to play doubleheaders, sticking with 7-inning doubleheaders.
I'm okay with it. I really am. I think as much as we can protect injuries, this year particularly. I mean, what we've done this year though is in some ways criminal. For instance, the St. Louis Cardinals have 30 games in 23 days. They have 7 doubleheaders. They have 3 doubleheaders next week, and 3 doubleheaders the week after that. I mean, it's absurd. But you put players at risk with running them out there too often when we didn't have the appropriate preparation this year. But I am in favor of the 7-inning doubleheader. I think saving arms is a good idea. I have to tell you, I am completely in favor of the extra inning rule. I love it. I think it's instant action. It's been exciting. There's been strategy. There's been, big plays. There's been big moments. You get, walk-off excitement. I think that has been something that I know a lot of people had doubts going in, but a lot of the people that had doubts going in are now saying, wow, this is actually pretty cool. I certainly hope we keep it in place for the future because I think it makes a whole other element to the game, and it brings it to a conclusion much more quickly and most typically in a pretty exciting way.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've liked it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think the league will likely decide to stick with it for the future.